All right, well, new government regulations, which were created to protect employees, are actually hurting them, at least according to our next guest, who's more than likely not alone. He says that not only are the regs on hiring and healthcare, among other things, forcing him to stop hiring, but also to cut back on benefits. Joining us now is Michael Sininsky, the owner of 8 local bars across New York and New Jersey. Michael, it's great to have you on the show. So how frustrating are these regulations? How is it impacting your business?
Well, it's frustrating because it takes a guy like me who was motivated. You know, I'm a young entrepreneur. I was happy to start new businesses and create jobs. And it's literally turned me into the opposite where I'm like in a wait and see pattern because of all these regulations. And, you know, it's definitely not creating jobs and it's hurting employees.
What is it about the regs that are hurting you the most? I mean, is it the labor laws, is it the upcoming health care, and what's changed already with health care and what's going to change in the next couple of years?
Labor laws, for example, the people who are creating these laws they're not from my industry, and they have no clue how to run a bar or a restaurant. So they create these blanket policies, and at the end of the day, because they don't understand my industry, it's handcuffing us. One example with labor laws is I can't give the employees the hours they need because I can't afford overtime to pay them. Is also another thing called spread of hours. So they want the hours, and I can't give it to them. So it's created to help them, but it's hurting them at the end.
It kind of sounds like the government almost doesn't want you, the business owner, to earn a profit because they're more concerned about the worker and creating jobs, which you kind of understand that side, but it's interesting to hear your side of things as a business owner.
Well, for example, with health care, you know, it's great to say everyone deserves health care, everyone should be, you know, given insurance and cheap insurance, but to then say to a business owner like myself, who has more than 50 employees, I have to cover every single one in a couple of years or face a $2,000 per person penalty. So on one hand, I'm looking at $1 million in covering insurance or $700,000 in penalties, and my profits are not that much higher than that. So it's gone.
How much of these regs are coming from the federal level, from the state level, local? I mean, obviously in New York City, it's different doing business in New York City than anywhere else in the world.
It's across the board. New York City definitely is the toughest place to do business. I could take a train ride 5 minutes away to Hoboken in New Jersey, where I just opened up a poorhouse, and it's so much easier. Minimum wage for tipped employees is half what it is in New York, so I can throw employees at a problem versus being scared to hire more people in New York City.
You know, you use words like scared, not motivated. I mean, what's been your personal experience? I mean, have you had audits? Is that a concern? I mean, are you fearful of that? What sort of things would you like to see change to make your business dealing smoother?
I mean, there's lawsuits, audits. I mean, my accounting fees and legal fees, you know, they're the only ones making money right now. And I'm at the point right now where because I'm scared, I don't want to grow. And, you know, until the government understands that they have to create an environment suitable for us to keep growing, we're going to stay in this recession a long time.
Well, now you started I guess you graduated from NYU in '97, and it was right at that point in time that you got into the restaurant
2000.
business. Oh, I'm sorry. You were in school in '97. But so it's been, you know, roughly 10, 12 years that you've been in the business. How much more difficult is it now that you see it than it was even a dozen years ago?
I mean, the last year and a half, 2 years have been, you know, the scariest and worst times I've had to deal with, and I never thought I would go backwards, you know, because I moved fast. You know, 5 years before the last year and a half, we were opening 6 places in 2 years, and I haven't even looked for the last year and a half.
Well, how then important is it, extra important in this climate, for you to have the word of mouth business and the regular clients? I know you own some neighborhood bars here in New York City. We were just all talking about, been there, done that. Everybody is familiar with, I mean, it's the Cheers. Everybody knows your name. So how is that side of business, just the one-on-one patrons who come in and day out, helping you out or hurting?
I mean, it helps out. The problem with my industry is I can't raise prices, otherwise I lose those people.
Right.
You know, because they can go somewhere else. So because I can't raise prices, my expenses go up, and now I have to deal with crazy fines, lawsuits, legal fees, and everything.
Are you thinking about selling some of your businesses?
For the first time, I've had to lay people off. I'm definitely not creating jobs with this mindset right now. And, you know, there is a couple places that I'm teetering.
I literally have about 10 seconds, Michael. If you could have the ear of the politicians out there at all levels, what would be 1 or 2 things you would tell them to do to change things?
We need people like me who understand, you know, the industry I'm in to be fixing regulations instead of just people who have no clue whatsoever what I do for a living.
Oh, Michael, well, thanks so much for sharing your story with us. Best of luck to you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.